My fiancé's dad joked at our engagement party, "My daughter is marrying 10 runs below her." I laughed and said, "He's right." Then I took the mic, thanked him for his honesty, and announced the wedding was off. What he did when I handed his daughter the bill for the entire party. I, 32 male, am a custom furniture maker. I own a small business. I build high-end, bespoke tables, chairs, cabinets, that kind of thing. It's a good living, but it's a living. I work with my hands. I end most days covered in sawdust. I was engaged to Amelia, 29. We've been together for 4 years. She's polished. She works in art curation, which is how we met. She commissioned a set of display pedestals. Her family is, well, they're rich. Not just has money rich, but looks down on people who work with their hands rich. Her father, Frederick, 61, has never liked me. He's made a career of, I don't know, owning things. He's a snob, plain and simple. He'd always make these little digs, wrapped in a joke. Benjamin must be nice to just make things. So rustic. Amelia, darling, are you sure you want to go to his workshop? You'll get splinters. I brushed it off. I loved Amelia, and she, I thought, loved me. She seemed to find her attitude embarrassing, or so I thought. When I proposed, she said yes. We were happy. Then came the engagement party. She wanted it at her family's country club, the one with a 6-figure initiation fee. I knew this was her family's territory. "Ben," she'd said, "I know Daddy can be a lot, but this is important to them. Let's just let them host it." But a week later, Frederick sat me down. "Benjamin, about this party, I've seen your guest list. It's quite full. I want to be clear. I will, of course, cover my own guests, my associates, our family friends. Your contingent will be your own responsibility." He was handing me a bill for my own family, my parents, a retired librarian and a nurse, my 2 brothers, my friends from my trade. Amelia was mortified. "Daddy, don't be ridiculous." "I am being perfectly reasonable," he said, not looking at me. I felt this cold prickle of pride. "You know what, Frederick? Don't worry about it. I'll pay for the whole thing." Amelia looked shocked. "Ben, no, it's thousands." "I've got it," I said, looking right at her father. "I wouldn't want to burden you." He just smirked, "As you wish." So I did. I put the deposit down on my business Amex. The total quote was staggering, $19,200 for one night. It was a massive stretch. It was most of my savings. But I was so determined to prove to this man and to Amelia that I wasn't some charity case. I was building a life for us. Last night was the party. It was a lot. Chandeliers, a string quartet, people with names like Muffy and Biff. My parents looked terrified. I spent the first hour getting them drinks, trying to make them feel comfortable, while Amelia flitted around greeting people I'd never met. Then came the toasts. Frederick predictably took the microphone. He was holding a glass of champagne, looking smug. To Amelia, he started. "My beautiful, brilliant daughter. She's always had exquisite taste, in art, in fashion, in life." He paused and looked right at me and my parents. "Now, when she brought Benjamin home." "I'll be honest," he chuckled. The room chuckled with him. I was concerned. "It's not every day your daughter, who has had every advantage, decides to marry. Well, let's be honest." He leaned into the mic. About 10 runs below her, the room erupted. Not in gasps, in laughter. Loud, braying, rich people laughter. They thought it was the funniest joke in the world. I looked at my mom. Her face was white. My dad was staring at his shoes. And then I looked at Amelia. She was laughing. She had her hand over her mouth, her shoulders shaking, looking at her dad like he was the wittiest man alive. She caught my eye, still giggling, and just shrugged. Like, what can you do? It's just Daddy. And in that second, everything just stopped. The noise, the music, the hurt. It all just vanished, replaced by this incredibly cold, quiet clarity. I laughed, just a short, sharp bark. Frederick, surprised, pointed the mic at me. "Ah, he's a good sport. He knows it's true." "He's right," I said, my voice carrying in the sudden quiet. He's absolutely right. I stood up and walked over to him. He looked confused. I gently took the microphone out of his hand. "Excuse me, everyone," I said. My voice wasn't shaking. It was perfectly level. "Frederick, thank you, genuinely, for your honesty." I looked at Amelia. Her smile was frozen. "You've made me realize that you're 100% correct. Amelia is marrying 10 rungs below her, and she deserves someone on her level. Someone appropriate." The room was dead silent. You could hear the ice melting in the glasses. "And I continued, deserve a family that doesn't see me as a punchline. I deserve a partner who doesn't laugh when I'm publicly humiliated. And my parents." I looked over at them. "They deserve to be treated with respect, not as your contingent." I turned back to Amelia. Her face was ashen. "Amelia, what the?" "Ben, stop. You're making a scene." "No," I said. "Your father made a scene. You laughed at it. I'm just ending the show." I held up my glass. "So, to Amelia, I wish you the best. The wedding is off." I put the mic down on the table. Amelia was just staring at me. "Ben, you can't be serious. This isn't funny." "I'm not joking," I said. I walked over to the event coordinator who was standing by the door with her mouth open. I asked her for the final itemized bill. She printed it, her hands shaking. The full amount. $19,200. Already charged to my card. I walked back to Amelia. She was starting to cry. "Ben, please, let's just go outside and talk." "No," I said. I held out the bill. "But you should keep this. It was your party with your friends at your club. You and your father can figure it out." She just looked at it. "What? What is this?" "It's the bill I just paid," I said. "Happy engagement." I didn't wait for a reply. I walked over to my parents. "Mom, Dad, we're leaving." My dad stood up, put his hand on my shoulder, and we walked out. We left them all there, in the stunned silence with their $19,200 party. My phone started blowing up before we even got to the car. I didn't answer. I just drove. Update 1, it's been a week. I'm writing this for my workshop. It's the only place that feels sane. The fallout. Man, I am not a hero. I'm just a guy who makes tables. And I'm a guy who just spent $19,200 on the most expensive, most humiliating dinner of his life. That's not a win. That's a problem. My phone was a brick for 3 days. Texts. Voicemails. From Amelia. From her mom, Clara. From her friends. Even from Frederick. They all followed a pattern. "How could you? You humiliated me in front of everyone. You're an immature, sensitive child." My father was joking. "You can't take a joke. You ruined my life, and you need to call the club right now and apologize and tell them that bill is yours. I'm not paying for your little tantrum." Clara, her mom, "Benjamin, dear, I think this has all been a terrible misunderstanding. Frederick's sense of humor is an acquired taste. Amelia is simply distraught. Why don't you come over, bring her some flowers, and we can all smooth this over." A single voicemail. "Benjamin, you surprised me. You've got some spirit. But you've made your point. You're also, I assume, realizing you've made a $19,200 mistake. Be a man, apologize to my daughter, and I'll consider helping you with, say, 25% of the party cost. As a wedding gift." Ahem. They all think this is a negotiation. They think I'm just posturing. They think I'm going to come crawling back, apologize, and beg them to take me back so I don't have to eat this bill. The entitlement is breathtaking. They truly believe the only problem here is my overreaction. So here's my methodical response. First, I had to deal with Amelia. She didn't just call. She came to my workshop, pounded on the steel door. I opened it. She was standing there in her designer coat, looking like she was about to spit fire. "We need to talk," she snapped. "No, we don't," I said. "I'm working." You embarrassed me, Ben. You made me look like a fool. You made my father look like a fool. Your father called me 10 runs beneath you. You laughed. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed my parents. The only difference is I'm not going to marry you over it. Now you need to leave. I am not leaving. And I am not paying that bill. You paid for the party. It was a gift. You can't just ungift something because you're in a mood. I just looked at her. The party was a gift conditional on an engagement. An engagement your father publicly mocked and you publicly endorsed by laughing. The contract is broken, Amelia. You all stayed. You enjoyed the food. You and your 200 friends. You can pay for it. It's on your card, you idiot, she screamed. I know, I said. And I'm going to get that money back. I shut the door. She kept pounding for a few minutes, then left. Second, the money. This is the part that sucks. I'm not a fictional hero. I can't just eat $19,200. That's a new planer and a down payment on a new truck. That cripples my business's liquid cash. So I called a lawyer, a guy named Mr. Santos. He's a bulldog. I told him everything. The contingent comment, the 10-run speech, the laughter, Amelia's texts, Frederick's 25% bribe. Santos was quiet for a long time. Then he just said, okay, they're old money. They hate two things, public scandal and losing. We're going to use both. He explained that this isn't a small claims case. The $19,200 is an expense in furtherance of a contract to marry. He said by publicly humiliating me and showing no intent to remedy, i.e. Amelia laughing, they breached the contract. Not me. My revenge isn't some grand plot. It's a formal, boring, terrifying demand letter. Mr. Santos drafted it. It was beautiful. It was addressed to both Amelia and Frederick. It laid out the facts. Frederick's public statements, 10 runs. Amelia's public assent, laughing, failing to defend her partner. My public dissolution of the engagement as a direct result of their actions, a demand for the full reimbursement of all party-related costs. $19 to $200 for which they are jointly and severally liable as they were the hosts of the event at their private club and their actions constituted a breach of the agreement. We sent it via certified mail. The response, silence for 48 hours. Then I got a call from a very expensive-sounding lawyer, Mr. Sterling, Mr. My last name. I represent the last name family. We are in receipt of your opportunistic letter. Let me be blunt. You will cease and desist all contact. You will not get a dime. You publicly humiliated Miss. And if you pursue this, we will countersue for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress and the full cost of her $15,000 wedding dress and other non-refundable deposits, which you are liable for due to your breach. You are a small man. Mr. My last name. Do not pick a fight with giants. And he hung up. I'm not going to lie. I felt sick. This is what I was afraid of. They're going to bury me. They're going to ruin me all because I had the nerve to stand up for myself. I called Santos. He was silent. He threatened you, Santos said. He called you a small man. He's trying to scare you off. It's working. I said, good, Santos said. Now we hit them back. What about the ring? I'd almost forgotten the ring. I didn't just buy a ring. I made the box a custom box of figured walnut with a maple inlay and inside a 2.5 carat ring. It cost me $22,000. It was my entire savings from the last 3 years. She still has it. I said, perfect, Santos said. She's not entitled to a conditional gift after the condition is broken by her. She just admitted via her lawyer that she intends to keep it by countersuing. They just stepped in it. My revenge is now a survival plan. I have to get that money back. I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy who's about to sue his ex-fiancée for $41,200. Final update. It's been 4 months. I, 32, am sitting in my workshop. It's quiet and it's mine. The last few months have been actual hell, as I feared the common man versus the machine is a real brutal fight. After their lawyer, Mr. Sterling, threatened to countersue, he and Frederick launched their real attack. It wasn't a social media blast. That's not their style. It was quiet. It was classy. It was devastating. First, my two biggest clients, two high-end interior design firms, called me. Same script. Ben, we're so sorry, but the client has decided to go in a different direction for the hotel lobby. Ben, the commission for the penthouse is indefinitely on hold. Budgets, you know. Budgets, right. These are people who don't have budgets. I knew Frederick's reach was long. He was on the board of one of those firms. He was choking my business. Slowly, quietly, no fingerprints, just bad luck. I was bleeding money. The $19,200 on my Amex was racking up interest. I was terrified. Amelia, meanwhile, was playing the victim. She did post on social media. Not a blast, but a single, curated, black and white photo of her, looking sad. The caption, "Sometimes you give your whole heart to someone, and they throw it back at you in front of 200 people, learning to heal from public humiliation and learning to be strong again." The comments were predictable. "You're so brave. He never deserved you. What a monster." This was their pincer movement. Paint her as the victim publicly, while strangling me privately. I was on the ropes. I told Mr. Santos everything. The cancelled jobs. The whisper campaign. Santos, my bulldog, was furious. "That's tortious interference with business," he spat. "It's almost impossible to prove." But they're not just defending. They're attacking. They've escalated. So we escalate. We didn't just threaten. We filed. We filed a lawsuit in Superior Court. Not small claims. The real deal. The filing listed 3 causes of action. Breach of contract to marry, demanding the $19,200 for the party, citing Frederick's statements and Amelia's assent as the breach. Demanding the immediate return of the $22,000 engagement ring, a conditional gift. Tortious interference. This was the big one. We named Frederick personally, alleging he used his board position and influence to maliciously sever my business contracts, causing specific calculable damages. We listed the lost commissions. This was the nuclear option. This wasn't a private letter. This was a public court filing. It's one thing to have your friends whisper. It's another to have your name, Frederick's name, and the 10 rungs, quote listed in a public legal document. The old money crowd hates public records. It took less than 24 hours. My phone rang. Mr. Sterling. His voice was different. No more Smallman talk. Just cold, tired fury. "Mr. My last name. My clients are displeased with this public spectacle. It is unseemly. So is trying to bankrupt me," I said. "My clients deny all allegations of tortious interference." Vehemently. However, in the interest of privacy and to avoid a protracted, messy affair for all involved, they are willing to discuss a global settlement. Global settlement, I repeated. What does that mean? It means we all go away. They will drop their countersuit for the dress and emotional distress. You will drop your baseless interference claim and the party and the ring. I asked a long, heavy sigh. What is your final demand? I looked at Mr. Santos, who was on speakerphone. He nodded. Full reimbursement for the party. $19,200. And the ring is returned. Not the value. The ring. We drop the tort claim. They pay their own legal fees. We pay ours. That, Sterling said, is unacceptable. Fine, I said. Then I guess we're not settling. Mr. Santos, are you free for depositions next month? I'm really looking forward to hearing Frederick explain the 10 runs joke under oath. And I'll be subpoenaing the records from those design firms. Checkmate. Sterling just said I will advise my client. The settlement meeting was yesterday. In Sterling's high-rise office. Just me, Santos, Sterling, Frederick and Amelia. It was the first time I'd seen them since the party. They looked smaller. The smugness was gone. They just looked angry and tired. We sat at a 20-foot-long mahogany table. Mine are better quality, by the way. His was a veneer. No one spoke. Sterling just pushed the settlement agreement across the table. We signed. He pushed a cashier's check for $19,200 across the table. Then he looked at Amelia. Amelia, the item. Amelia's face was pale. She reached into her $5,000 handbag and pulled out the custom walnut box I made. She slid it across the table. Her hand was shaking. It stopped in front of me. I picked it up, opened it. The ring was there. I closed it. "We're done," Santos said. We stood up. As we were walking out the door, Frederick spoke. His voice was low. "You'll regret this, boy. You've made a powerful enemy." I stopped. I turned around. "No, Frederick," I said. "I'm just a carpenter. You're the one who just paid $19,000 for a plate of bad jokes. You and Amelia, you made your choice. I just made mine." Amelia burst into tears. I walked out. So here I am. The $19,200 check is in my bank. The ring is in my safe. I'll sell it. My business, it's hurt. I lost those clients for good. Their whisper campaign did real damage that the settlement doesn't fix. I'm not a hero. I'm not a winner. I'm just whole. I'm back where I started. Minus 4 years and with a hell of a lot more scar tissue. But I'm free. I'm not 10 runs below anyone. I'm back in my shop. I've got a new commission for a library in a different city. I'm running a piece of rough sawn oak through the planer. The noise is deafening and the smell of the wood is the best thing I've ever known. It's over.